their faces are familiar, even if I can't remember your names. But that's okay, you'll forget my name by the time you walk out of here. I look out to this congregation and I wonder in my heart how much you understand about yourself. Usually we don't discover self until something dramatic and climactic happens to us, where we have to reach down to the very depths of our being and soar to the very heights of our consciousness to heal ourselves, to make things right, to make things proper, in harmony and balance. During the healing part of the service, it should be understood that the forces that you're working with, that you're having access to, is a vibration, it's a frequency. And that frequency changes with every individual that you choose and have chosen you to conduct a healing transition from illness to wholeness. Vibrational medicine is new in the medical field. There are very few books written about it, but there are some very good books now on the market, written by doctors who have entered into the spirit movement, or spiritual movement, whichever you prefer. And in that, they have to make it such, when they've written it, not to entertain, but to enlighten. And when you find such a book, study it, learn from it. Because from it you will learn something that you are not aware of about yourself and those around you. The most potential that you ever will experience in healing will come directly from the source we call, for lack of a better definition, God. Some of you who have heard me lecture before are well aware that I tried to convince you in some small way to examine your thoughts and to be aware of them, because they are just as potent as a blacksmith's hammer hitting an anvil to shape and form a piece of hot molten steel. You and I and those that you love have to temper our spirit, toughen it so that it has flexibility and strength. We will have this only if we try, only if we open our minds to a higher consciousness that eludes most of us, because our ego is the main consciousness of our everyday living. Don't get me wrong, a healthy ego is a good ego. It protects you, it serves you, and it has ever since you were a toddler. Without it, you would not be the individuals you are now. Each of us has had to accept the fact that we have to have a separation between each of us. Because if we didn't, we'd be stumbling over each other left and right. Because we would become conscious of the other person's feelings, and that's not bad. But if you're going to do that with 1,000 people in one sitting, you can get pretty ragged. A lot of illnesses that are determined to be mental aren't what they are is confusion. Confusion of what state of consciousness that you find yourself in. Some people that hear voices have been diagnosed as being crazy. Well, everybody that's sitting here, if you don't hear the odd voice now and then, that isn't coming from a person that's standing close to you or over the radio or television. If you don't hear it, you're missing out on something. But you're not crazy. You're not mentally ill. What you've done is you've opened up that consciousness from the ego consciousness to a higher consciousness. Now, what height is that consciousness? It's not measurable. Nobody can measure. I have not yet found an individual who can tell me that they can measure in any accuracy what degree of consciousness any individual has that they have been asked to determine the amount of consciousness or the degree of consciousness that they express. If you've done anything with LSD, you'll be the recipient of some pretty weird visions. Some of it good, some of it not so good. But that's the key. Technically speaking, to do something like that is risky business. You don't need LSD to attain a different degree of consciousness from your waking ego consciousness of every day. The ego consciousness that we express in our dealings with the people around us throughout our lives serves us well. But in order to understand the potential that you have to create and to make whole someone that needs your help, when you have discovered that consciousness and the degree that you can enter into it and trust the source that it will bring to you that frequency or vibration of consciousness that will help you in healing yourself and other people. And I also include animals with that too. You can heal your pets. If you've got a wife that you figure it's a pet, you can heal her too. With no bank accounts. I haven't figured that one out yet. You've heard me speak that each of us is creating. We create every time we think, every time we have an intention, we are creating. The sole purpose of your being here is to create without discord, create without control, create without suppression, create a harmony, a balance that will elevate this planet, this earth we call Mother Earth, to a higher vibration. Why do we need that? Look around you. Pick up the paper. Turn on the radio. Listen to the newscast on television. If this planet and the people on it don't need healing, I don't know who does. But you yourselves as individuals can, and even as you progress in the spiritual movement, you will understand that you and others like you, when we combine our consciousness in an effort to heal this planet, this earth, and the people on it, when we use that creative ability that's inborn in us, then we have accomplished, to some degree, a balance, a harmony, and purpose that we've been put here to express. I'm not going to intimidate you to get to the point where you want to raise your consciousness by threatening that you're going to burn in hell for eternity. Does hell exist? You're darn right it does. And a lot of people are experiencing hell on this earth at this moment, this very second. And that continues on after you made the transition. Because it is the thought that you harbor in your mind and heart that determines what experience that you're going to have here and now and after you've made the transition. Is there a paradise on the other side? Yes, there is. Because people of like mind are positioned in that spiritual realm, in that focus of consciousness. You have a group here, and a group here. Ashrams all over the place. And each will be of a different degree of consciousness. But it'll be separate. Like minds will join each other on the other side. Like hearts will join each other on the other side. And this will be your experience. A combined experience of like consciousness. And you find that here now too. And you don't have to make the transition to be in a group of like consciousness and mind and heart. You need to just understand that the people you're attracted to and the people that are attracted to you are like you. They want the same things you want. Balance, harmony, expression of love without any encumbrance of repayment or payment of a good, kind gesture that has been afforded to someone that you've come in contact with. I've listened to Billy Graham. I've listened to a succession of 3 or 4 popes out of Rome and some very astute rabbis and some motivation speakers that are making tons of money doing it. And then at the time that I witness this, I see people gathering around these people. Why? Because they're attracted, maybe not to the verbal transmission of an idea or a thought, but by the vibration of spirit within that individual. That attraction is one of the things that you will experience and find yourself with a group of people that will sustain you at that point in your life to help you on your journey of understanding self and the purpose of life. And I'm not saying that I'm correct and right all the time, but I like to think so. And that's my ego. A good ego will say, you have to make amends for what you just did because you were wrong. Admitting that you're wrong is a very difficult task at the least, because we have to lower ourselves. But we don't have to lower ourselves to the degree that we have to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Just understand that you're human and that you're going to experience some degree of mistakes and errors. And that's common That's the currency of being human. Currency of love is a union between people of like mind. And hopefully, in your choice of partners for your journey here. But if you make a mistake, don't kick yourself in the rear end. Just admit to the fact that you have made a mistake. It's an error. And it's a learning tool. Make apologies where apologies are necessary. And make amends where amends are necessary. And believe it or not, you're going to feel a heck of a lot better after you've done that. Because you've inched yourself up to that consciousness that you've experienced through the many lifetimes that you have embodied on this planet. You know, science, doesn't matter what field it is, have been looking for the missing link between the ape creature, monkey creature, and who we are today. They won't find it. Never existed. Those of you who have listened to me lecture will know that I believe, and it's only my belief, that the human race as it is today came about because of genetic engineering. The same as you go into Loblaws or wherever you shop for your groceries, you look at the item that you're buying, and if you're into health, food or health, you check the ingredients of the stuff or the product that you're going to buy and consume. It does you well to do that. Because today, some of the food that you're eating has been genetically enhanced. You use the word enhanced. I want to go back to the missing link, monkeying around with the food we're eating. But you're not going to be told every time that you pick up a product whether it has been altered in any way from its original form. Why do they do that? Primarily so that they can make money. Because if you have a longer shelf life of a product, chances are you're going to sell it eventually. But if it spoils, it ends up in the trash, it ends up in some piece of ground as nourishment for Mother Earth. But because you live today in a society that you're aware that things can be altered genetically, it's then that you come to the loggerhead of whether we came about because we were genetically engineered to look the way we are and to act the way we do. If you study the genealogy of man, you'll see that the different humanoids have existed throughout time. Some of those people look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Other people look like me and you. So there was a variance in the way we looked and our physical makeup. But we were engineered to look a certain way, to be a certain way, to exist as a species a certain way. But they can't alter, no matter who it may be that's playing around with your genetic makeup. They can't alter the spirit that exists within you. That's unique. It belongs to you and only you. And and protect it by examining each day what prompts you to do what you do. Because every day you'll live a life that can be balanced and in harmony with everybody else simply by thinking before you act. Thank you very much.